Many consider the human brain to be evidence of God's handiwork, or a testament to the wonders of nature because of its incredible complexity and complexity. Rather than doing nothing, this intricate network of nerves and connections adapts and evolves alongside us. The long-held belief that brain development halts after childhood is disproven by the fact that new connections can be formed in adult brains. Like God, who is both forgiving and flexible, this capacity to change is a gift that allows us to develop and flourish by bridging the gap between our rational mind, our emotional self, and the wisdom of the divine. For a long time, many people believed that the brain was the dwelling place of the soul, the conduit between humans and God. Renewing our thoughts to have a deeper knowledge of God is the way to undergo a transformation, as stated in Romans 12:2. Is it possible that our ability to discern God's will for our lives improves in tandem with the development of our brains? If we are indeed created in God's image, then perhaps the malleability of our brains is a reflection of His own flexibility. The way our brains develop over the course of a lifetime may actually facilitate a deeper relationship with God, through which we may draw wisdom and direction. Many ancient religious writings, including the Vedas, the Torah, and the Quran, emphasize the need for growth, recovery, and enlightenment. These spiritual notions seem to mesh nicely with the ways in which our brains may develop, learn, and heal. The impact of our surroundings and the decisions we make on our brains is also intriguing. Being near good people and away from evil influences is a common religious message. Just as how our environment and decisions shape our physical brain, our mental capacity can expand or contract. Seeking wisdom, being patient, and loving others are methods to become closer to God, according to faith. These joyful experiences have a beneficial effect on our brain development, according to scientific research. This shows that our quest for God understanding involves both our intellect and our spirit. When we prioritize our mental well-being, we may experience a heightened connection to the divine, which may manifest as fresh insights, emotions, or a more solid sense of purpose. As we go further into this investigation, we find that the brain's function in making sense of our feelings and experiences connects the material with the ethereal. One way of looking at our emotional reactions to life's ups and downs is as signs from above that point us in the direction of compassion and understanding. We may use our brain's adaptability and the lessons it teaches us to grow spiritually as we face the challenges of life. Being in tune with our feelings and thoughts brings us one step closer to a greater force, which in turn helps us unravel the secrets of life and find our place in it. Furthermore, the accumulated knowledge of mankind, preserved in written records and handed down through the ages, might be viewed as evidence of the mind's ability to establish a connection with the divine. We get a better grasp of our position in the cosmos with every tale and lesson we hear. The ever-changing human brain is fueling this common drive for understanding and belonging, which implies that it's more than just an individual pursuit. It's a communal conversation with the divine. We may discover a more profound connection to the cosmos and each other as we continue to study and evolve as a species and as people. The borders between the physical brain and the spiritual realm may blur. Throughout history, the impact of God's tremendous words has been profound. Entire worlds have been created, civilizations have been altered, and lives have been shaped by them. The power of words is in their ability to evoke strong emotions. They have the power to uplift or depress, unite or divide us. both in our spiritual life and in our day-to-day encounters. This is true. Through language, we are able to forge a bond with powers beyond our own. Prominently featured in the Bible's opening verses, "And the Word was with God," and "the Word was God," is a passage that emphasizes the significance of words. The power of words to influence our emotions and thoughts is a central tenet of many faiths. Kind and loving words and deeds illuminate a pathway in our brains and bring us closer to a higher power. But harsh or cruel comments can cloud our judgment and impede our spiritual growth. The words we use, whether conversing with other people or just ourselves, have a significant impact. An intimate relationship with God, brimming with compassion and love, can be fostered via the power of positive, loving speech. However, our words aren't the only thing that matters. Our feelings, which originate in the limbic system of the brain, are dynamic and subject to change as a result of our environment. A person's spiritual intimacy with God can be profoundly affected by these emotions. Feeling that spiritual connection could be challenging when we're angry or disturbed. Still, we can draw nearer to God when we are peaceful and tranquil, regardless of how difficult things may appear around us. Taking care of ourselves emotionally and calming down prepares us to hear God's voice. There is a reciprocal relationship between our words and our emotions. The perils of speaking have long been cautioned in sacred writings, and contemporary research confirms this. Keep in mind that the speaker is just as wounded as the target when they utter hurtful comments. We can gain wisdom in word choice by praying for direction from on high. A prayer from the Psalms: "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight," serves as a gentle reminder of the intimate connection between our actions, emotions, and spiritual development. Our inner monologues and the words we use in our daily interactions are more like a dance than a simple exchange of ideas. Each movement in this dance affects our personal and spiritual development. The way we express ourselves verbally and emotionally shapes who we are, just like a river shapes the environment around us. The tales we tell ourselves and those around us have the capacity to bring people together or drive a wedge between them, to foster understanding or perpetuate miscommunication. Our lives are like a canvas. Our words shape our fate, and our emotions propel us on our spiritual path. This is a truth that both the ancient wise and contemporary psychologists have long recognized. Never lose sight of the impact that our words and feelings can have as we negotiate the intricacies of this life. May they illuminate our path through the shadows and point us toward a life of meaning, unity, and communion with the divine. What we do, what we think, and how we feel affects our brains. Another thing this law does is make us realize that our actions have consequences. Now is the time to act. Click the subscribe button. Being kind, loving, and compassionate helps us grow as people and opens the door for God's blessings. And then there's the adaptation law. The sayings, "Don't be friends with someone who's always angry," and "Hang out with wise people and you'll become wise," are examples of how our brains can change as a result of our experiences. These concepts teach us that our thoughts and actions are susceptible to environmental influences, whether positive or negative. As a means of spiritual development, they imply that God places us in environments that are good. Next, there is the principle of free will. The choices we make each day determine the trajectory of our life. But from a spiritual perspective, this is crucial. Our free will is a gift from God. It can lead us closer to Him or further away. The road to spiritual progress is a life filled with spiritual riches, and we can achieve this by making good choices. Beyond simply rewiring neural connections, our brains are capable of producing brand new brain cells. This mirrors our spiritual journey, in which we gain a deeper knowledge of God via study and experience. We demonstrate our desire to comprehend God's secrets by our learning, whether it be about religion or anything else. And just as our minds may develop and rejuvenate, so can our spirits. We are able to put our past transgressions in the past because of God's grace and forgiveness. The limitless potential for spiritual and personal development is shown by this combination of human intelligence and God's grace. Progress, however, isn't always a picnic. Things outside our control have the power to influence our minds and spirits, so we must exercise caution. If we are unable to obtain our desired outcome, the law of diversion states that we can redirect our attention to something else. What this means for our spiritual lives is that when we encounter obstacles, God may redirect us to other paths that offer unique opportunities for growth and learning. Intense events and other developmental shocks can actually promote brain growth. Just as God allowed trials can fortify our faith and character, so too can these trials test our mettle. Cause and effect, adaptability, choice, and diversion are all rules that demonstrate how our spiritual lives and our minds are intertwined in the human experience. The intricacy and flexibility of our brains are evidence of the marvelous design that God created. We can ascend to a higher spiritual plane with the aid of the divine laws that direct us. Our hearts and minds simply need to be fine-tuned so that we can receive these messages. Envision the marvels that could be shown to us if we were able to consistently access this divine message. One never knows what the day may bring in terms of comprehending ourselves, our environment, and the cosmos at large. Therefore, this path of opening yourself to divine communication is about growth, not merely listening. The key is to follow your intuition and inner voice to a deeper comprehension. Every moment might be a message or a lesson from the divine, and maybe that's what this voyage will show us. By revealing that we are all interdependent, cosmic dancers, this investigation has the potential to alter our perspective on life. This path may take us to a life of meaning, harmony, and spiritual connection with each step we take if we are led by a power larger than ourselves. Please give these ideas some attention and then comment with your opinions.